What happens when a $57 million celebrity mansion turns into a full-blown financial disaster? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what happened to Kanye West's former Malibu property, a home that went from architectural masterpiece to cautionary tale in just a few years. And the money story behind it? It's even crazier than you might expect. This is the same oceanfront house Kanye purchased back in 2021 for $57.3 million. Sitting right on the Malibu coastline, the property wasn't just another luxury home, it was a rare piece of architectural art. The house was designed by legendary Japanese architect Tadao Ando, known for his minimalist concrete designs and world-class structures. The home itself was about 4,000 square feet, built almost entirely out of smooth concrete, with clean geometric lines and a design that focused on simplicity, light, and space. Floor-to-ceiling openings framed the ocean views, and every element of the house was crafted to feel modern, calm, and exclusive. It wasn't just expensive, it was iconic, but instead of preserving that vision, Kanye made a decision that would completely change the fate of this property. He didn't renovate it in the traditional sense. He didn't upgrade it. He completely stripped it down. At some point after purchasing the home, Kanye began removing key parts of the structure. The plumbing was gone. The electrical systems were torn out. The windows were removed entirely. Even the interior finishes were stripped away, leaving behind raw concrete. What was once a fully livable luxury home slowly turned into something else entirely, a bare, industrial shell. Reports suggested Kanye was pursuing an ultra-minimalist vision, possibly trying to transform the house into a futuristic, almost bunker-like living space. But whatever the intention was, the result created a massive problem, because while extreme minimalism might sound artistic, it doesn't always translate into market value, especially in a place like Malibu, where buyers expect move-in ready luxury. By the end of 2022, the property was no longer a functional home. It was essentially a high-end concrete structure with no working systems inside. And that made it incredibly difficult to sell. Fast forward to early 2024. The property hits the market again, this time listed for $53 million. On paper, it might have seemed like a reasonable price given the location and original value. But in reality, buyers weren't interested. Think about it, anyone considering this property wouldn't just be buying a house. They'd be taking on a massive reconstruction project. Millions of dollars would be needed just to make the home livable again. And that kind of uncertainty scares off even the wealthiest buyers. As a result, the listing struggled. It sat on the market without serious offers. And eventually, the price had to come down, way down. The final sale price was just $21 million. That's a loss of nearly $36 million compared to what Kanye originally paid, one of the biggest celebrity real estate losses in recent years. The buyer was Belwood Investments, a company led by real estate investor Stephen Belmonte. At first glance, it might have looked like a smart deal. Buying a famous architect-designed oceanfront property at such a steep discount could present a huge opportunity if restored correctly, but here's where things started to get complicated. Belwood didn't purchase the property entirely with cash. Instead, they financed a large portion of the deal using an $18.5 million loan. That meant they were immediately under financial pressure to either fix and sell the property quickly or find another way to generate returns, and time was not on their side. By November of that same year, cracks began to show financially. Belwood had fallen behind on their loan payments, missing approximately $814,623. That might not sound huge compared to the total investment, but in real estate financing, missed payments are a serious red flag. The lender, Quality Loan Service Corporation, responded by issuing a formal notice of default. This marked a critical stage in the foreclosure process. Under California law, once a notice of default is issued, the borrower typically has 90 days to fix the situation, either by catching up on payments or restructuring the loan. If they fail to do that, the property can be scheduled for a public auction. In simple terms, they either fix the problem or risk losing the property entirely. Despite the financial pressure, Belwood didn't walk away. Instead, they doubled down. They began pouring even more money into the property, attempting to restore it back to a livable and marketable condition. This wasn't a simple renovation, it was a full-scale reconstruction. Plumbing systems had to be completely reinstalled. Electrical wiring had to be rebuilt from scratch. Structural elements needed reinforcement, and the roof required major work. Then there were the custom details, like specialized windows imported from Germany to match the original architectural design. All of this added up to millions more in costs. The strategy was clear: invest heavily now, restore the property to its original appeal, and then sell it at a much higher price. But that strategy came with significant risk. By March 2025, Belwood relisted the property at $39 million, hoping the upgrades and architectural prestige would attract buyers, but once again, the market didn't respond. The property still didn't sell. Despite all the investment and effort, buyers remained hesitant. The home's unusual history, combined with its incomplete transformation and high price, continued to raise concerns. Eventually, the listing was pulled from the market. At this point, Belwood was facing a difficult situation. They had invested tens of millions into a property that still wasn't generating returns. So instead of relying solely on a traditional sale, they decided to try something entirely different. They launched a new concept, a membership-based real estate platform called Populus. This wasn't just about selling a home anymore. It was about turning the property into both an experience and an investment opportunity. The Malibu house became a central part of this idea, tied to a blockchain-based fractional ownership model known as smart deeds. Instead of one buyer purchasing the entire property, multiple investors could buy access through memberships. Entry-level memberships started at around $1,000, while top-tier access could go as high as $300,000. In return, members would receive exclusive benefits such as private tours, special events, and unique access to the property. It's a blend of luxury real estate, technology, and alternative investing, all wrapped into one concept. According to company projections, the full renovation could take between 12 and 14 months. If everything goes as planned, the estimated value after renovation could reach $57.5 million, almost exactly what Kanye originally paid, but reaching that number is far from guaranteed, because right now, everything depends on one critical factor: avoiding foreclosure. If Belwood fails to resolve its loan issues within the required timeframe, the property could be sent to auction. And if that happens, the entire strategy, renovation, resale, and even the Populus platform, could collapse. What makes this story so fascinating is how many layers it has. It's not just about a celebrity home. It's about risk, vision, and how quickly things can go wrong in high-stakes real estate. A world-famous architect designs a masterpiece. A global celebrity buys it and transforms it. A company steps in, seeing opportunity, but ends up facing financial pressure, market resistance, and uncertainty, all of it tied to a single property sitting on the Malibu coast. In the end, this house represents more than just concrete and glass. It's a reminder that even at the highest levels of wealth, every decision carries risk, and sometimes, even a $57 million dream can turn into a financial nightmare.